Okay. It is 7:00, so let's call the meeting to order. Thank you, everybody. I just wanted to make a comment because of all that's been going on. Thank you for working with us as we work into a new paradigm of how we may run meetings. The other side of it, I hope everybody's healthy, happy, and all their families and everybody are okay. David, on your side, your wife's a PA, so is she doing okay with all of this stuff going on?
Yes, still in the Air Force Base.
Good. Okay. And Rob, I hope everybody at your organization is doing okay.
Hanging in there. Thank you.
Okay, making that happen. First item of the agenda is the approval of the minutes from March 10th. Ollie, do you want to make your motion?
I think we should approve it as written.
Okay. Anybody? Well, I think at this particular point, it's either Scott or David has to come up with a second.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you, David. Any comments or questions about the minutes? All in favor of the minutes being as written, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Okay, opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you very much. And we'll go on to the next one, the action item list. And since I just pulled something out of the printer. My wife has been printing some stuff, so excuse me while I flip through pages to sort out what was going on there. Okay. What the action item list looks like is pretty much that right there. Okay, and if you happen to have it in front of you, both action items have Rob, your name attached to them. So comments on dummy accounts and comments on updating communications and things like incomplete routes in a timely fashion.
Yep. So item number one continues to just be something that we're working on and our call center works on. And I trust that over the course of time, more and more of the addresses that were not included in the upload will come to bear. And in those instances where customers cannot, their account or their address as a record of service location in our system, them not being found in the system will become less and less.
Okay, now how is customer service doing in all of the wonderful world of COVID-19?
Yeah, Gordon, I appreciate that broader question because I would like to take the time to share that across our three call centers, Indianapolis, Charlotte, and Arizona, the number I don't have up the tip of my tongue, but it's thousands of people were mobilized and put into a work and home environment in a matter of 3 days. So their world has been jumbled. Their resources that they're typically having access to, not there. And then the leadership team, their supervisory team. So we've had our moments of stumbling, and especially with certain service types flipping on and off and so forth. But by and large, really impressed and proud of the team they're adapting. But that's not, it's not to say that they're perfect or ever going to be perfect. We still have instances where residents get misinformation or outdated information. The call rep isn't interpreting information that we feed them in a system, an information system that in the way that we need them to. But anyways, all things considered, within this environment, I think they're doing pretty darn well, given all the change, especially.
Okay, how about on the route activity?
The route, the information on Route Complete.
Yeah, and just getting your staff and everything together and on their way, because we've had the interruption on when the county stopped taking materials at the Compost Central. Have we gotten everything kind of back to normal? Yeah,
so So yard waste got flipped back on, and in the back half of April, we got all that cleaned up in a couple weeks' time after being suspended for 5 or 6 weeks. Now bulk got flipped back on last month or just yesterday, and working on that as residents bring the material out that they've been stashing away and waiting for us to come back. So I don't have a good sense of that yet. Yard waste was laying everywhere. There wasn't it was very apparent what was there. I suspect it's going to be a couple weeks to get the bulk items collected, but not a clear or obvious indicator yet for me.
Okay. Thank you for expanding on that with my questions.
Yeah.
Let's jump over to item number 2 on the action item list. Communications, how to communicate, missed routes and things like that.
Yeah. So that one was pretty much at a stalemate with Maureen at the town communication department there. And I think we're still at a stalemate. I mean, we don't have the ability to use Republic's social media feeds or anything like that to specifically blast out the Matthews. It's still going to be on a an as called in basis by the residents if they're wondering if a route's delayed or incomplete for a day. If they call in, they'll get the information that recovery for them will happen the next day, but we can't explicitly blast anything out.
Okay. So that one remains a bit unresolved yet. We just haven't figured out how to do it.
Yep.
Okay. Is everybody okay with the action item list?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Very good. If not, why don't we just slide right into solid waste issues and any additional Republic reporting, Rob, that you would like to throw into the discussion?
Yeah, so just in general, we talked a little bit about yard waste. You could see the volume there, 231 tons in the month of April. That was collected. Let me see. That was collected. We kicked back on the 20th. So we had 9 business days to collect 231 tons. So we doubled down. We put some extra routes out there. Once we got comfortable that our labor was available, and solid waste and recycling across all of our commitments was taken care of first, kind of from a sanitation perspective, public health perspective. So we opened that back up, and we put as many resources on it as we could, got pretty much a full normal course amount of tonnage for a month, collected in 9 days, got everybody caught back up. Really proud of the team's effort there. And then, like I said, bulk started yesterday. And then all the while, you could see the spike in MSW and recycling tonnage, collectively about a 17% increase from baseline periods, January and February. Kind of tracking forward from the dates at which Governor Cooper put forth all of his executive orders and putting people in their homes. So an extraordinary amount of effort put forth by our team to get those extra volumes cleaned up on the solid waste and recycling side. So, but that's not to say, you're going to see on the complaints, you're going to see some worry calls and some resident exceptions there, particularly as we went to a cart content only offering, trying to keep ourselves moving to be able to get through our routes and then to reduce the amount of kind of hand to waste combat, as I'll call it, with manually collecting and handling the material. So you had a lot of folks that, and rightfully so, if they're not paying attention to Maureen's Twitter or the town's website, they don't know that it went to that offering necessarily, and they're used to our good service of some reasonable overflow and grabbing a couple bags around, and we weren't. So they were calling in, and in a lot of cases we'd go back and tip a reloaded container, same day, same hour, or even just as we snake back along on the other side of the same street. So just a lot to it. And a lot of change. And, but with that being said, there weren't just complaints or uncertainties or inquiries. There was an extraordinary amount of outreach as I look back over the past 7-8 weeks, and one of which particularly was published in Republic Services Twitter and Instagram, and LinkedIn, where some Matthews kids were hanging signs and surprising our drivers, and using their at-home time to do some crafts and and just welcoming our guys. It was outstanding. I mean, if I could put into words what that means to these drivers, as they kept lacing up their boots and coming in when their child care at home was uncertain and their world was uncertain as well. I mean, they just kept rocking and rolling. For those kids to do that was really cool. We saw pockets of that around the country with our work, and really neat. So it's not without any kind of noise, but I'm very proud of the way we've gone about our business with elevated volumes and starting and stopping service, and to make sure that we had all of our resources to pick up primary volumes and so forth. So good stuff.
Okay. Questions for Rob?
No, good job, Rob.
And was that vodka that I saw you drinking, Rob?
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
I got an early morning tomorrow, so it's
The cruise did very well. I was very pleased that the yard waste in my area was picked up the day or the day after you started recollecting yard waste.
And we've had a lot of it. Anecdotally, I can report we've had an awful lot of yard waste. We've had an awful lot of regular waste too, as people seem to be cleaning out homes, garages, and whatever else. So
yeah, it's extraordinary to see how it all played out. Obviously our commercial and our industrial businesses are struggling, but to see all that happen in the residential communities was interesting. I mean, it's just kind of a study in human existence, honestly, when people start to live this new lifestyle and what they're bringing out. And so as far as the yard waste is concerned, then you throw in, how much tornadic activity we had throughout this whole thing too. I mean, just a wild couple months with respect to residential waste collection.
it has been. Any other questions for Rob?
Do you have any sense of the waste differential between the increase in residential and the decrease in industrial and commercial?
David, you're an investor. I like it.
Well, no, I'm thinking more from the environmental side. Are people generating more waste than they did when they were at work?
I don't think that you can think about it as a 1-for-1 or a substitute, I guess you could say. I mean, it was certainly they're producing more at home, and then
Right.
and then I would say there is net there is less. There is less being across all of our business. And what I lean on there, David, is my landfill volume, where by far the reduction of our volume stemming from commercial and industrial businesses shuttering their operations is far outweighs the spike that we're seeing from the residential trucks.
Okay.
Any other questions for Rob?
Find out from the MRF if they've seen an increase in residential recycling or a decrease in overall recycling.
The MRF has seen, that the MRF there in MEC doesn't take a whole lot of commercial volume. It's primarily residential, just by the way its normal course streams are. But no doubt. I mean, as you could see in your own volumes, the recycling has just gone through the roof, and obviously we ever more we could use the term recycling as loosely as possible with some of, as their solid waste containers overflow, or as we were suspended on yard waste. I mean, you were seeing yard waste, you were seeing trash, still are. I mean, the amount of residual coming out of the back side of that MRF to my landfill is jacked up.
Okay. Any other questions?
Partially, please, with Graham Rice.
So,
Okay. If not, let's go ahead and work our way through our charts. Does everybody have, and I'll put it in front of me since I'm talking, this is the one on tonnage. And Rob, you were referring to it just a moment ago. You'll notice that I think Rob, you said in just 9 days on yard waste, you picked up 231, almost 232 tons in 9 days, where in a month you would pick up typically more like that kind of number or a little bit less. So interesting stuff there. The recycling is up a little bit, but the number is somewhere in the neighborhood of about 36%. And the tonnage on the solid waste, again, up a little bit. Not unexpected when people are spending a lot of time at home. Comments or questions?
So what was the overall percentage?
Say again?
What was the overall diversion percentage?
Okay, the diversion rate was 36% for the month,
Okay.
for April. Now for May, or for March, which we didn't have a chance to talk about, it was 35%. So it's becoming pretty consistent at just less than 40%. The average, actually, the annual average right now is 36%. Okay, comments and complaints. You want to move on to that one? That's what it looks like. And Roz, we didn't have an opportunity to get you to print it out for us so we could have it in nice color and everything else. But thank you very much for putting it all together. Numbers are a little bit, it's right around 100 comments and complaints. And having looked at the data, it doesn't seem to be anything very unusual about what's going on. Just a thing I noticed on that, and this is both for Rob and for Roz, the area complaint column, or actually it's a row, for the last couple of months has nothing in it. I don't know what that means.
You're muted, Roz.
Roz, somehow you got muted. There you go.
About the area misses, Gordon?
Yeah, for the last 3 months.
Right. I think in January we established that according to the contract and the way the area misses were counted, we were counting it incorrectly.
Okay.
As long as they give us the information and we're notified ahead of time, they won't count it as area misses. So that's why they're not.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you very much.
I also wanted to say that originally I didn't get any information from the public for March, but Keisha was able to send me March and April data. So they're both included.
Okay, so we're up to date. Okay, very good. Any other comments under solid waste?
Either next month or in a future meeting, my daughter Hannah wants to make a presentation. As I told Rob, her group up at Appalachian is collecting and recycling bottle caps. They're shredding them and they will be making whistles out of them through an injection molding process.
Okay. Now, David, keep that in mind. The downside is we have no idea when we're going to be meeting together.
You could do it through Zoom.
Well, we can do it.
Competition.
Yeah, we'll figure it all out though.
Okay.
Okay. Ollie, somehow you got some things going on over at your house.
Joe, I just wanted to ask a question.
Please do.
I really have a concern. We were talking about MRF. I really have a concern that the only thing in plastic that I can put in my recycle bin has to resemble a bottle or a bottle shape. And then I have these containers that I have that get stuff in, and I wash them out. And I have to watch myself put them into the trash can. And isn't there if David, if your daughter wants to do something, figure out what to do with all these containers that I'm having to throw away. They're nice and clean containers.
Actually, I'm serving as a technical advisor to that group, and I've told them about that. There's also a company out in Tennessee that I think I emailed the group about that is recycling polystyrene. There's always shipping it up to one of the waste management Wheelabrator waste to energy facilities. North Carolina just doesn't have their shit in order.
And correct.
Thank
And I've been talking with somebody about that particular thing too. Mark, I want to comment. Mark Tofano's on the call. Mark, a MRF is a recycling center where they separate out the materials. So that's what's going on with a MRF. They separate out the glass, the paper, the plastics, and other recyclable materials.
And about a year ago, the North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality told all the counties that they no longer have to prohibit plastics from being sent to the landfill. One-time plastics were prohibited from going into the landfill along with aluminum containers and yard waste. They reneged on that when North Carolina no longer could send plastics to China for them to dump in the Pacific.
But David, you brought up, and I think someone else brought up the thought of these things can be managed other ways.
Yes.
You mentioned about the facility in Baltimore. I've actually visited that facility where they, this is years ago, but they can burn that material and it's a waste to energy facility. There are some other waste to energy facilities out there too.
Yes, that's Bresco. I believe that's one of the Wheelabrator facilities now. And Wheelabrator has two facilities, of which I've seen, in Virginia.
Yeah.
And
I believe the Wheelabrator is owned by Waste Management. Waste Management has some sort of operation center in Gastonia. Rob, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes.
And I would think it's reasonable. Waste Management could be contracted, no offense to Republic, to pick up the, quote, garbage plastics and from many counties and ship it up to one of their waste to energy facilities.
And the issue on that one, David, it's an excellent point. The issue is to get Smithburger and Ebenezer to move in that direction because the county is the one that drives that particular activity. So, and Andrew is not on tonight. He's our representative on the solid waste. Ali, you used to be our representative.
Sure.
To move in that direction of looking hard at that opportunity. It may not be economically as attractive as it once was, but it's certainly taking it out of, Rob, your landfill. And we'd like to preserve that capacity as much as possible.
Maybe John should talk to Dina, the county manager, for whom Ebenezer works.
Yeah. One of the things that I do, I tend to participate in the county's sustainability committee meetings. Several of the county commissioners are part of that. Elaine Powell, our representative here, Susan Hernandez McDowell, Ella Scarborough, and what's Mark's last name? He's District 4. I can't think of his last name. I can't think of it off the top of my head. But when we start meeting again, I often have an opportunity to chat with all four of them to see if we can make those things happen and go from there. And Rob, thank you for throwing that in.
Got it.
Okay. At this particular point, I don't know that we can do much of anything because nobody's meeting. I got my meeting notice. It was actually, the meeting was canceled for today of the Sustainability Committee. So we will not be meeting until the other parts of government allow us to start meeting as a regular group, however that may be. Anything else under solid waste issues? Hearing none, Rob, you're welcome to stick around, but you can also get up early tomorrow morning and have a great rest of the day. So get some sleep. We're going to move on to physical agents.
All right. Thank you for hearing out our story and our journey through COVID, and thanks for your business.
And we will see you next month, one way or another.
Yes, 10-4. Take care, everybody.
Okay. Yeah.
Bye, Rob.
Okay, let's move on to physical agents. Anything under that category? I'm not aware of anything. Okay. Under stormwater issues. We heard about the tornado a moment ago. A reminder about that. Ollie, you missed it, by the way. I tracked it. It missed you by inches. Literally. Missed you by inches over on your street. Anything under stormwater? If not, let's go over to air quality. David, you want to jump in for your report?
Sure, the only thing air quality did was review asbestos demolition notifications. There was one house that was intentionally burned by the Matthews Fire Department. It had asbestos removed before then. There was another house that I believe it looked like the asbestos was encapsulated. And there were two other notifications where there was no asbestos.
Yeah.
And the air quality, Jeff must have shut down his monitors because the air quality is better now than it has been in decades.
They have not shut down their monitors. They are being monitored. I know that. Okay. Things are better. It's one of those things when you take all that traffic off the road, what happens? The biggest single source of pollution in Mecklenburg County is mobile sources. That's trucks, cars, and similar devices. In the area of NOx, it's like 67 or 70% of the NOx is coming from mobile sources. So when we knock that number down, see what happens.
Well, the power plants are still operating.
Yeah, but they're not in Mecklenburg County.
Right. Allen's right across the river.
I know. And
And that's only a peaking plant. Most of our power is generated by nuclear.
yeah. So interesting stuff there. Nothing else to report. As all of you know, I sit on the Air Quality Commission. We have not met since all of this began, so we have not been talking about anything. We have been getting periodic updates, and that's why I know a little bit of David about the couple houses that were burned, or one house was burned here in Matthews by the fire department for practice. And that's it. They're not doing much in the way of inspections. They're not really doing much in the way of anything except doing paperwork reviews, is what's happening on the air side. Anything else on air quality? Hearing none, is there any other business before the group? If not, if not, is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll motion.
Okay, Ollie? Pardon me?
Ollie, say second.
Okay, I didn't hear it. Thank you very much for correcting me there, and appreciate that. All in favor of adjourning? I want to hold just for just a moment on this, but adjourning, please indicate by saying aye.
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 And opposed, nay. Okay. Before we finish up, though, how did this go?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Sure.
How did this go?
Hello.
I thought it went very well.
Who do we lose?
This is fine.
Yeah, well, fine.
Okay. Is this okay? Is this the way to go? Do a Zoom meeting next month if we need to?
I think so.
I think it'd be best interest, yes.
Okay. Let's go ahead and do that. What we'll do is, Roz, if you'll keep track of what the mayor and town council want us to do, if there's a change in that, let us know. But otherwise, we'll anticipate having a Zoom meeting in June. Fair enough?
Sharing that in it.
I'm sorry.
Everyone.
Mark, thank you for sharing the comment. He said it's been in a lot of town Zoom meetings. I guess it's one of those.
Yeah, we know how to run a meeting, don't we? Okay, everyone. Have a great rest of the week, and we will talk to you sometime in June, hopefully either by Zoom or maybe face-to-face if that is opened up again. Have a great rest of the day, and bye-bye, everybody. Stay healthy.
Thanks.